Today is a very special episode because instead of answering our usual 3 questions, I'm going to take on just one and go deep into it. Answer it in depth. Let's jump into it. As always, this is Espresso Monday and I am James Richmond. So let's jump into this really in-depth question, which comes from Andrew Reed. And this kind of question is something that I receive over and over again, and there's reason behind it. So Andrew asks, 99% of the times, the guy that can afford to offer his service at $5 per hour will get the job. It has always turned into the bidding war. I seem to be stuck in some kind of limbo because on one end, you have the businesses that charge $5 to $10 per hour for their work. The people that are beating out everyone else and really dominate sites like Elance and Freelance. But then on the other hand, agencies are scooping up jobs at $5,000 to $10,000, sometimes even $50,000 to $100,000 per project. So maybe I'm just looking in the wrong places. As well as geography doesn't seem to be helping much either. I live in a small town where everybody either has a website and does not wish to upgrade, or they depend upon local word of mouth for businesses and have no desire to grow. Are there any other sources that you would suggest? I don't even know where to start. But actually I have taken down some notes and I'll try to explain this to you as, again, in depth as I can. A lot of it will be based on my own past experience. So I'll start off with bidding wars and prices. You are quite right. Elance, Freelancer, people per hour, I don't even know all of them. They are built for bidding wars and you should not be there because your time is worth much, much more. Clients who visit sites like that are actually looking for cheap, quick fix solutions. It's always race to the bottom and you don't want to win this race to the bottom because if you do, unfortunately, this is the wrong place for you. Now, $5,000 to $10,000. Actually, let me jump in straight to $50,000 to $100,000 per project, which is actually what we charge. The minimum we charge is $25,000 per project, up to $50,000 and even up to $100,000 per project. And the agencies that usually can afford to ask for that kind of price are agencies full of experts with a variety of experiences and variety of skills. Years of experience. So they have a full-on team that they bring onto this project so they can ask for that kind of price. And clients who are ready to pay $50,000, $100,000 per project are interested in finding out how many people work on your project. You know, if you have 10 people, different expertise for different solutions, they'll be happy to pay that kind of price. But as I understand, it's not the case with you. I would suggest you should hit the middle ground, which is $5,000 to $10,000 per project, and this is exactly what you should charge for your work. Because I also checked out your website. I'll comment it in a bit. So I have 3-step formula really for you to heal your headache. Let's jump into the step number 1. Okay, as I mentioned, I've taken down some notes. 3 steps. Step number 1: you have to be ready. You basically have to be ready to be worth the money you ask from your clients. The time you attract a client and he lands, say, on your website, he has to feel that you are worth the money you are asking. Starting from the way your website is designed, starting from the copywriting, the kind of portfolio is on your page and what sort of things you're offering. I did have a look at your website and it's pretty good, I must say. Design is really good. Upfold call to action was really good as well. There was already whether you jump straight into it and find out about the agency or you find out about the prices. Check out your prices, pretty good as well. You could increase them a little bit, but at least you're not asking $500 for a website, which would be a big no-no. So I'd say you are pretty much ready to ask for that kind of money. So I think you can do a big check for step number 1. That means we can jump to step number 2. Step number 2. Step number 2 is finding out who makes the decision. Who makes the decision whether to take you on or not to take you on? Who is in charge of a budget of this company that you're attracting, the client you're attracting? Now, if we are talking about $50,000 project or $100,000 project, those are going to be either medium or even large corporations, and they have what is called CMO, which is Chief Marketing Officer. And Chief Marketing Officer is usually the one in charge of budget, of all the marketing efforts, building websites, creating marketing campaigns. They have the money, they have the budget, and they make the decision. If we are talking about a little bit smaller agencies, smaller clients, and then there would be either general marketing manager or just marketing manager. But the idea is the same. You've got to figure out who makes a decision. Then you've got to figure out where do these people hang out, what kind of information they consume, on what websites they hang out, what articles they read, what podcasts they listen, what videos they watch, what conference they attend. So find out who makes a decision and where do they hang out. That is step number 2. Let's jump into step number 3. Okay then, once you figure out step number 2, this is step number 3, which is grabbing the attention. As you realize, the clients you are about to attract, you want to attract, will not get caught on by a message that says, hey, I'm a web designer, I can build your website. So can millions others. So you've got to find your angle. Whether it's the technology that you have developed, whether it is an experience, the expertise that you have in particular niche, like food niche, fitness niche, music industry, whatever it is. Maybe it is your extensive, massive team. Figure out what it is that you have that others don't have. So you've got to figure out that angle. Next thing is figure out a format to deliver this difference to these clients. So for instance, if you figure out that the CMO of your, if your potential company is hanging out on Business Insider or on Inc.com or on Fast Company, all these websites, or Forbes, for instance, do a guest post. They are for free, but there will be a massive return of investment. Because on this blog post, you can show your expertise, which I told you again, you have to figure out what it is that sets you apart. Another way is do a podcast interview. Find out what are the podcasts in the industry that would love to feature you. Again, don't think you're going to earn money from that. It's an investment of your time. So figure out what is the best format. Sometimes even a video, like I am doing, but figure it out. So that is a step number 3. And as I am mentioning about the step number 3, I actually decided there is another step, number 4, which is really, really crucial. Sorry, I promised 3, there is 4. Let's jump into the fourth step. Okay, the step number 4 that I just realized is really, really important is basically there are so many studies that have proven that we make decision to purchase something, buy something, after a repetitive appearance of this product or service. You don't buy or purchase something the first time you see it. You see it more than once. There's a repetitive appearance. Big marketers use it. It's a biggie. It's a massive trick that you can use. You know, the first time you walk in a shop or walk in a shopping center and someone is saying, "Look what I got by," you'll be like, "Hang on a minute. I got to do my research. I don't even know you. I don't know your product. I don't know your service. I don't know your company." Unless you've seen that product on bus banners, on TV adverts, on blog posts, guest posts, on TVs, on podcasts, on interviews, you've already heard of this brand. There have been a repetitive appearance. So you've got to make sure to do that. So don't just say, I wrote one guest post, let's wait for sales. Do many of them. And a good example I can mention actually is someone called Derek Halpern. Derek Halpern from Social Triggers. Before his blog got famous, what he used to do, he offered services for free. So he went to some pretty known, famous people, got in touch with them and told them, there is this and this wrong with your website. I can fix these things for you. As long as you allow me to record a screencast of me pointing these things out, which will obviously show my expertise, and fixing these things. So he did I think at least maybe even 10 websites and put them all up on YouTube. So that's the way he showed his expertise. He did work for free again, but there was a massive return of investment. And like I said, he didn't just do one, he did 10 of them. So there was a repetitive appearance, and he just kept showing off his expertise. So to sum it all up again, figure out who it is that you are trying to attract. Who is the decision maker? It's rarely the company's owner, if we are talking about big budgets. It's not the PA, it's not the secretary, it's someone who is involved in the marketing department. It's someone who has the budget. Next, figure out where are they hanging out, what are they reading, what are they watching, what are they listening. then try to get in there, try to get in that stream. But before you do that, figure out what is your angle, what sets you apart from other agencies, what sets you apart from other service providers. And obviously don't just look at anyone, amateur. Look at someone who's also asking for at least $5,000 to $10,000 per one project. Try to see how you set yourself apart. Repetitive appearance. Try to establish long-term relationship with this, whether it's YouTube channel, blog, magazine. So those are the 4 steps. I really hope it helps you. If it doesn't, which I doubt, just leave a comment below. Any other further questions? I try to go as in-depth as possible. I base it all on my past experience, what's worked for us, what's worked for me, and what keeps working for me and the first web designer. Whew. As I said, we did something different this time. Instead of answering 3 questions, I answered 1 question. But if you want your question answered, just leave your comment below wherever you find this video, on a blog, Facebook, Twitter, on our email. You can easily reply to my email, which is james@firstwebdesigner.com. Again, this time I can't promise I'll answer your question. It will have to be an awesome question, because now I have to pick 1 question to answer. I really hope to see you next week when we're going to have yet another Espresso Monday. I was James Richmond, and I hope to see you again next week. Thank you. Switch it back on. You recording? Nice one. Forgot to mention, guys, hashtag Espresso Monday. Include the hashtag when you ask the question, so I know you are targeting Espresso Monday. Get some caffeine down your throat. What? What's the matter?